2025, I will call this meeting of the Webster School Committee to order and ask that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we begin, I would just like to ask for a moment of silence. We had a member of our Webster School community pass away recently, Julie Wunsch, from our cafeteria, and I'd just like to have a moment of silence to remember her. The first item on the agenda for tonight's meeting is the discussion and approval of the minutes from the February 25th, 2025 meeting. Is there any discussion around those minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. And the next item on the agenda is a superintendent's report. Good evening, Mrs. Perangeli.
Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. First thing on the agenda is a personnel update. I have a retirement announcement. Miss Kathy Nedorosik is an instructional assistant at Park Ave Elementary, will be retiring as of, actually, I think the date has already passed. We received notice, so. Yep. Oh, sorry, I'll speak up. We also have a new hire, Miss Tara Shea. She is a special education teacher at Bartlett High School. We have no new resignations at this time and no transfers at this time. Below is a list of vacancies that we continue to carry across the district. Any questions about personnel? No? Okay. Under instructional update, on Tuesday, March 4th and Wednesday, March 5th, the central office team, along with our building principals, attended a virtual instructional prioritization from 9 to 2:30. This is an opportunity for our team to collaborate and be guided through a process with a facilitator to prepare our instructional priority for next year. We had done some pre-work ahead of the prioritization, looking at different data sources across Webster, and then we work with our team to develop the priority for FY26. We still have some work to do, and we hope to finish it at our next DILT meeting tomorrow, I believe it is. Tomorrow morning, we will continue the work and hopefully finalize some of the work. As you know, this is planning for next year. We're already looking ahead and reflecting back what worked this year, what didn't work, what do we need to tweak, and how can we continue to clarify and simplify the work that we have moving forward. The DILT team also conducted walkthroughs on February 27th, and we have additional walkthroughs coming up on March 13th. And then this Friday, on March 14th, is a district-wide professional development day, so there is no school for students. I'm sure they're very disappointed, and I'm not excited about the long weekend at all, but I think they'll survive and hang in there until Monday. Is there any questions about the instructional update? No. Also in your packet, you will have the Southern Worcester County Educational Collaborative Annual Report. We are required by law to share that report with the school committee. We don't have to go through it in detail. We need to show that we've delivered the report and that you have it for your review. If you have any questions in regards to that, please let me know and I can forward them over to the director and we will get you any answers. But that is in your packet for your review. And then in other updates, Lisa and I will be participating in an MSBA assessment because there is never enough fun going on around here. The MSBA reached out and they will be looking at other facilities across our district. So they are reviewing Park Ave and Webster Middle School. They will be participating in a 2.5-hour virtual session with us. There was a 4-tab questionnaire that needed to be filled out that is getting completed. We will be doing that on March 13th, and then they will have a site visit on March 20th where they will visit Park Ave and Webster Middle School. The MSBA has engaged the company STV Incorporated to conduct this. This is a statewide survey. They do it across the state. It's a way to evaluate and support the ongoing needs of school districts across the state. So we will be working on that. In addition to the annual report, which I shared a few moments ago, in your packet you have a copy of the Q2 report for Southern Worcester County also. So that is there for you to review. And then I'm also happy to report that Bartlett recently has been awarded a grant in the amount of $21,900 from the 1-8 Foundation for the Project Lead the Way High School Biomedical Science Program. This will cover training for staff and durable equipment like a centrifuge and a classroom thermal cycler, and other items. Does anybody know what a thermal cycler is? It's for DNA testing. I looked it up before I came out here. And the centrifuge is for the tubes that you can circulate for blood and things like that. So I'd like to thank Michelle Bigelow for actively seeking funds to help support the program. She is consistently applying for grants, receiving grants, and looking for ways to add material in that program to enhance it. So I thank her for her hard work in that effort. And in addition to the 1-8 grant, we were also awarded the Promoting Safe and Healthy Learning Environments. Dr. Mackay is here to speak to that grant. So as you can see, we are constantly looking for ways to bring in additional funds for these. So Patty, you want to take it away?
This is Fund Code 128, Promoting Health and Safety Learning Environments. And there were 6 or 7 options that we could choose from. We could only choose one, all related to like mental health, student voice, and creating additional opportunities for students. So we chose to apply to the option A, which was to create so we already started internships more than we've seen in the past. And so there was an opportunity to have student internships for the 21st Century Program after school. So if you remember, we used to have a club after school called Future Teachers. And so for students that are interested in education, instead of it being a club, we are offering them opportunities to be interns in the after-school program, so it doesn't take away from their school day. And it facilitates their transportation because they can hop on the bus and go to Park Avenue and be the interns at Park Avenue, and they get paid to be interns. That's what this grant will do. In conjunction with that, we are creating a Future Teachers class. So it's not yet, and Mrs. Nieves will talk about it, not yet. We'll be coming back for approval of a new class, but we just got awarded the grant, so we weren't in time for it to be included in there, and we have to develop it quite a bit. But we'll be creating a class for students that are going to be selected as the interns, and that'll be an elective for them. And they'll be provided with ongoing training because part of the grant requirements is like, how are you going to train the interns and provide ongoing supervision and support? They'll have training on topics such as professional boundaries, first aid, lesson planning, communication skills, interview and resume writing, classroom behavior management protocols, school emergency responses. And because it's affiliated with 21st Century, they'll also have a student mini course on project-based learning. In addition to that, there'll be an orientation to Park Avenue, introducing who the medical personnel are, who the admins are prior to starting. And then there'll be training for the educators who receive an intern so that we understand like the role of the intern, the role of the staff member receiving an intern. And then we're appointing a coordinator to coordinate all these activities, to monitor, to do site visits, to troubleshoot if there are any things happening like, any difficulties that come up. And in the class, the students will also be keeping a journal about the successes and challenges of this. We also thought that we could invite, as we're developing, we could invite guest speakers, not just teachers, but the education profession includes a myriad of professions, like my former profession, like social work or counseling, OT, PT, speech. There's all kinds of, behavior support personnel that we could expose students to a variety of educational opportunities. They don't have to be locked into like a pathway. It's not a pathway. They don't have to be locked into a pathway, but if they would like to explore a career path in education, this would be a great way for them to be able to do that. The grant total is $60,000, and that will provide the stipend for the coordinator as well as the student salaries, which is a great opportunity. So we're very excited to be able to expand this idea and create yet an additional opportunity for students in a more comprehensive way for those students that are potentially interested in education, and where they get a paid internship. So we're very excited about this new opportunity. This will take place in the summer, so summer programming for PASS 21st Century and school year of next year. So we'll be recruiting current juniors.
Mhm. Awesome.
I don't know if there's any questions about that.
That sounds great. Great to hear it happening. It's another great opportunity for an internship for kids to see a taste of it's not such a real world, but it is a real world because even though it's a school environment, they're in these leadership roles.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Do you want to continue on and do
Vacation camp?
Yeah, as at our last meeting, I said Dr. Mackay would be here at this meeting to update you on the February vacation camp. So if you want to give that update.
Sure. Over February vacation, we had 24 students attend the February vacation camp at Webster Middle School. A little shorter, a little smaller number than we would have liked to have seen, but we condensed everything and made it ELA focus because there weren't enough students to do ELA math and science. At that time, or the student selection, the school analyzed the data and chose like which standards need the most reinforcing, and created lessons around reinforcing those standards, chose the students, and then the students received accelerated instruction throughout the week, and so the 4 days of camp, and also participated in projects. Some of the project ideas, I just think that these are really fun to make it like fun February vacation. Some of the projects, and they were mostly writing projects, like research and writing to go along with the ELA standards. How to throw a football in a spiral, jewelry making, how to organize, like somebody organized the classroom, like how to organize the classroom, and they had to list out the step-by-steps and defend their ideas. Braiding hair in 5 steps, making sour candy, how to fix a race car, how to shoot a basketball. And then one group created vacation camp project journal, so they wrote their own book. They illustrated, they were extremely well done. When I walked around, kids were engaged and happy to be there. I didn't see any kids that were like moaning and groaning for being there over February vacation, which meant or indicated to us that what was actually happening was engaging them and they were happy to be there, the students that were there. So because we only had the focus of ELA during February vacation, we're also offering a camp during April vacation. And we are considering focusing on math and science and maybe doing like a math and science academy and hoping that that will create a different kind of buzz around that. We were not able to offer a program at the high school, but we've decided for April that kind of a continuation of Saturday school, that we will offer a different funding source. So it won't be the acceleration grant that is paying for the Acceleration Academy, but a different funding source will fund teachers to supervise students to continue helping students finish the work that they owe so that we can get as many kids to the finish line. And so I've just been given the first draft of the students to potentially reach out to for that. So we're not leaving the high school behind with this. So again, we're excited to have these opportunities to help our kids get there.
Thank you. Thank you. Lots of good work going on, and we are doing everything possible as a district to support our students and to help accelerate learning across. On March 11th, so today and tomorrow, some high school students and teachers will be attending the parochial schools to present to the 8th grade students all the wonderful offerings at Bartlett High School. It's an opportunity to show off what we can do for the 8th grade students that will be moving on from the private schools. So we're excited about that. This past Sunday, I was excited to be invited to the Gridiron Banquet to celebrate the football players who had a great season. I want to thank all the organizations and parents who support our students to make all these events possible. It's really wonderful to see the kids shine and dress up and be happy to be supported and enjoy those events. So I want to thank everybody who makes those a possibility for our kids. This week coming up on Thursday, I will be attending the CMC board meeting in Worcester in the morning on the 13th. And then last night, Ms. Contos and I were asked to attend the selectmen meetings to discuss special education across the district. As you know, we're seeing a rise in tuitions, rise in transportation. So they just invited us there to speak a little bit about that, to get a better understanding what's happening with special education across the state. We know it's just not a Webster problem. It's a bigger issue across the state, and many school districts are struggling to keep up with the cost surrounding special education. And that's all I have for you tonight under my report. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Pringely. The next item on the agenda is the business manager report. Good evening, Mrs. Contos.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start with giving you updates on the renovation project. We are now in the final path to substantial completion for Phase 1. So this is truly critical path activities are going on now to get to April 12th, which is the targeted substantial completion date. To get there, there's things that still need to be buttoned up. So I want to just give you a report of either what's been completed or what's outstanding in certain areas. In the kitchen, I'm happy to report that everything is essentially completed with the exception of some final connections of the equipment in the kitchen, as well as moving one of our combi ovens and then a kettle that'll move just the week before the move. They got the bifold doors in, everything's there, it looks really good. In the basement, everything is completed in the basement with the exception of the lockers. They're expecting the lockers to be coming in and installed within the next 3 weeks, but we walked through today, we saw all the tile up, toilets, sinks, everything's in. It looks really good. On the first floor, they're completing some of the ceiling grids as well as putting up all the wood paneling. So you may recall when you did your tour through the cafeteria, there are areas within that cafeteria and that dining area that will be getting wood paneling, and they've begun to put that up. I wish I had time this afternoon to put together a slideshow, and I didn't get there, so I apologize. But I did take pictures, and if you want to see them on my camera before you leave tonight, I will show them to you. They're completing the bathrooms and installing all of the partitions and painting the walls there. In the second floor, I'd say that's probably the most complete out of all the floors. They're finishing up a little bit more in the ceiling grid as well as some of the flooring, focusing on a lot of the windowsills right now and some remaining tiles. The auditorium is the area where there's probably the greatest amount of work remaining to be completed. So they still need to install the chairlift. They need to get the chairs in, start getting that flooring in, and they're actively working on that as we speak. So the stage floor as well as the seating is planned for the 3rd week of March. It's changing daily, weekly. You know, the look and feel is certainly progressing. It's really coming together, so we're really excited. I think what the most critical points here is really getting through all of our commissioning, getting everything through all the inspections that we need to do, and have the architects do their final reviews. So they do have a pretty substantial punch list of activities and dependencies that are required to get us to completion. We have been still continuing with our move planning. We are tentatively targeting communications with parents early April. We don't want to do that too prematurely. Don't want to jinx ourselves, right? We want to get there, make sure that it's pretty solid. But we did get confirmation today from the GC that he's very confident that he will hit that April 12th date. So things are moving along, and it's looking really good. And as a reminder, this is technically, in terms of workload, 50% of the effort. Like, the big lift was in this section because of all the infrastructure that needed to be put in place. So phases 2 and 3 will be easier.
So we keep hearing it's going to be easy.
It will
Smooth
be
sailing from
easier
here
than
out.
phase 1. So, any questions?
Through the chair. I'm just curious how the cafeteria is going to work. Are students as of in April going to use that new cafeteria?
When they come back from April break, they will be having their lunch in the new cafeteria.
Very exciting.
Yep, so it's going to be change. Let's be realistic. It's going to be change in terms of how students will work across the campus. We're going to be working in 3 separate buildings. So the path in which they travel will be different, so they will be moving in and out of buildings. In addition, how they're going to execute lunch is going to be different, right? The serving line is going to be different, how you return your trays will be different, but I'm pretty confident that it won't take them long to pick up on it. I think they're all going to be pretty excited when they see the end result. It looks really good.
Hard to believe we're 5 weeks away when we sit down and say that. It's going to be here before you know it. And walking through today just to see the change in the building within a week or a couple weeks since you've been in. The MSBA was here with us today, and they were amazed. I kept hearing them say, wow, this is different from the last time we were here, because it's been, I think, a month since they walked through. So they couldn't believe the change. But, last time we were through as a team, I don't know if the framing was up, but I don't know if all the walls were up yet or the windows were in. But now we're seeing painted walls and floors covered, and you can actually visualize, you know the area now when you're in there. You see the area. It's plain and simple. You know where the cafeteria is, the serving. So it's exciting. I can't
Yeah,
wait.
they were sanding the gym floor today as well when we were in there, so we saw the brand-new gym floor down. That's being sanded. We're just finalizing all the graphics for the floor right now, so just finalizing the size, the font, what it's going to look like. So working through those final details before they come in and do the graphics.
The auditorium was pretty well done. I mean, the chairs still need to be in, of course, but they have all the catwalk stuff up. It's a lot of the wiring going from the ceiling, painting. You can stand on the stage and
The control
look out
booth
and
is
see.
finished.
Yep. So it's come a long way.
It really has. It's exciting. It's been a long road, and we're really happy to see the light at the end of the first tunnel. All right, moving on in my updates. On maintenance updates, I had previously reported about some leaks that we had in Section A, and we had remediated those with more short-term type of solutions that certainly did not hold. We had significant leaking in Section A in the hallway as well as multiple classrooms. We did hire a roofing company that came out immediately when the water was coming into the building. They did a lot of patching up on the roof. What we did discover is that a patch that was probably done, it's well before my time, but many years ago, there were very small cracks in that patch that needed to be repatched. We found some other small areas and small cracks up on the roof by the penthouse itself that needed to be repaired. And then there was a spot over the library that also got repaired. Certainly, when we went up on the roof, I think the part that was surprising is that there was nothing up there. There was no snow. There was nothing there. So what they believe happened was through those small cracks, there's 2 different layers of the roof that it got under there, sort of spread out, and then leaked down once it finally got to its destination. So that has been remediated. When I did my report, we had 2 rainy days, and we made it through those 2 rainy days without any leaks. So it's going to hold up another year. So please keep your fingers crossed. I'm also happy to report, and hopefully I'm not stealing any of your thunder when you talk about it, but the bleachers are officially in at Park Ave. I had reported we were slightly delayed due to some challenges from the company rep from getting out here, but they are in. They look very good, and I know that the administration at Park Ave is very excited because now when they hold assemblies with the full school, or even having parents in, there is a place to assemble besides the cafeteria with seating that works much better for those types of functions. So really happy that we have that completed. Were the kids happy?
Yeah, well, they haven't been on it yet.
So they're curious. Yeah.
I just, through the chair,
Member Scriglia?
just a comment on that. I met a little kindergartner at the library 2 weeks ago now, it was, and he was very excited about the bleachers. I won't say his name because I don't know if I can say, like, but he was very excited, and I'll talk to you later about it, too.
Right.
Yeah, so it is exciting. Pictures are for you in your packet if you didn't get a chance to take a look at it. Showing them to you open so that you can see what it looks like. I think we calculated, I think we can fit about 420, I think is what we can fit in the bleachers, so. Yeah, this, unfortunately, the footprint that we had for that location to put the school up didn't have enough space for a very large gym in there, which is why it's pretty condensed. So we do recognize that we can, while basketball games could happen, only one set of the bleachers could be partially opened, right? Because they do go over the line. But we did compromise with that because it was more important for the assemblies than it really was for basketball games. Any questions? And in other updates, what I did want to make you aware of, we spoke a few weeks ago about our projection for our fiscal year 26 special education as well as regular education transportation. So for 2 years, we're now seeing another deficit this year with special education transportation. At this point, I'm projecting a deficit of $786,000. As a result of that, we've done some analysis and we've placed a hard freeze on the budget right now only for necessities so that we can cover those expenses with our LEA budget. By suspending some spending as well as because of some vacancies that we had and some grant funding earlier this year, we feel confident that we'll be able to cover this deficit in the LEA budget. Any questions? What I will share is that when we look at the historicals for last year with the deficit as well as what we're seeing this year, I'm very confident in the numbers that we put forward for the projection for fiscal year 26 for the special education transportation, assuming we don't have any new move-ins that require transportation or new internal students that get placed on IEP that require out-of-district placement, so.
For additional buses.
Or any additional buses at this point, correct?
Fingers crossed.
Yep.
It's a moving target for sure, so.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for your updates. Any questions or comments from the committee from Mrs. Contos? All right, well, once again, thank you. And the next item on the agenda is our principal report, and joining us is Miss Amy Poliafico from Park Ave. Good evening.
Good evening. All right, so I'm going to start with events. We've had quite a few events, both PTO and school-based events. Taking us back to February, we did have our winter carnival. That includes games, dancing, sports, face painting, snacks. It's always a great event with families coming and going throughout the day. We also, also in February, our school leadership committee sponsored Medieval Manners, maybe you saw it in the paper. They decorated the cafeteria with a real focus on cafeteria manners. So it's a nice little play on words. The kids had fun, and the cafeteria created a nice special chicken leg meal kind of in that medieval manner style. We've also had several Student of the Month breakfasts, which are always successful. We've added the additional benefit that the students get a special lunch table up on the stage, and staff serve them as an additional. So we decorate with the tablecloth and nice plates and make it additionally special for our Students of the Month. This past Friday, our PTO sponsored Cookies and Canvas, which did sell out again. A big thank you to Callan Descanio, our art teacher, for leading it. So it's a paint night that includes cookies, and it's a family event for an adult and a child to paint together. Our Girls on the Run has started. It is up and running, so they will be running again this spring. Big thank you to Central Breaker and Control for their generous donation, which allows us to really supplement a lot of the students, as well as coaches and transportation. So that was a great donation to be able to keep the program running and have 3 coaches. So when a coach has to be absent, we always have that backup person as well. And Real Madrid Soccer will begin this month. So that's in partnership with Mafre Foundation. So that will begin this month. We are currently running registrations, and we have about 41 current registrations. So that's getting just about to our limit for 2 coaches. So we're excited to get that running, always successful. Coming up, our MCAS begins April 7th with our ELA MCAS. And I'm sure you all are aware that we have our Community Reader Day. I do understand the invitations were sent out to all members. And we did move away from the Read Across America, and for a couple reasons. And we are now calling it Celebrating Community and Diversity. So all of the books that we're reading will be celebrating diversity. I also wanted to give an update on attendance. So our chronic absenteeism rate at Park Ave is down 8% from where it was last year. So we are improving on our chronic absentee rate, still not where we want it to be. Additionally, our tardies are down by 22 percentage points from where we were last year. Our daily attendance rate, our average daily attendance rate did fall below last year's rates for the first time in February. We had a lot of illness, felt like a steady stream of students heading out of the nurse's office during February. So we did dip below, but other than that, our daily attendance rate has been above last year's each month. We're currently holding attendance meetings with counselors, family engagement, and administration for students who are reaching that chronic absentee rate. We have held 18 so far, and the meetings are really to work in partnership with families to understand if there's any issues, any transportation issues, situations at school that are preventing them from coming. How can we support? How can we help? That's really our goal, is to support families in getting their children to school. A big piece is helping families understand what level of sickness they can still come to school. We all have our kids that wake up and they're sick, but there are certain levels of ill that mean stay home from school, and there's other levels of maybe malaise that they can still come to school and should come to school. So it is a balance, and I can remember having those same questions when my child was young, trying to figure out when is right to send and when is right to come home. But we're trying to help support families with some real information in that area. Open Architect has been a great resource to be able to track attendance in real time. It updates to the day prior, so I can get real-time percentages and be able to keep families informed of that. So being able to reach out to families as soon as they start getting close to, a certain percentage, and be able to keep them informed with that. So it's a great tool. And teachers are also making regular contact with families. I'm able to keep them updated on numbers, and so teachers are also making regular contact with families just to say, hey, we've missed so-and-so, anything we can help with, in that supportive mode. And yes, I was going to talk about the bleachers, but I also knew that Lisa was going to talk about them because she sent over a request for pictures, so I said, I know what that's for. But yes, a big thanks to our dean, Matt, for initiating and really wanting to bring these in. He's all about community within the building, and this was a way that he really saw being able to bring all of the students together. He's already done that with a lot of assemblies, bringing the kids in, but it is tight in there when the kids are all on the floor. But we can do it, and now we're going to be able to do it even better. So thank you to Lisa for really making it happen, really being on top of it, and helping us figure out all the logistics and making it a reality. So we will be holding not only assemblies where we bring people in, but school-wide and grade-wide community meetings. We'll be having our first one this month, which will be sponsored by Grade 4 and facilitated by our student leadership team. So we'll be able to do PBIS celebrations, modeling of appropriate behavior, and just an overall building of community from pre-K all the way up to 4, which we don't often get to do that. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Pugliafico. Sounds like lots of great things going on at Park Ave, as usual. Any questions or comments from the committee? Members Dwiggly?
I'll just comment. I went to the Winter Carnival, and you saw how happy we were. It was a great event. All the games were so much fun. There was so much to do. I mean, I brought my littlest was 9 months, and he was crawling around in the gym. So it was just an awesome morning spent with everybody at Park Ave. It was great.
I'd also like to shout out a lot of the volunteers we get from the high school and middle school. As you saw, we had a lot of our kids from the high school and middle school running those games, and we wouldn't be able to do it. We'd never get that many volunteers without them coming. So we're really thankful.
And the prizes were, you crushed it. So many good prizes. I still hear the horns in my house.
I was going to ask if you ended up with a horn, and I'm
We
sorry.
got plenty. We got 2, 'cause one wanted one, so we had to get 2, and they are still very much used
Great.
today.
Great. Lots of great things happening. I miss the carnival, but I had a representative there running a game, right? So once again, thank you for your updates and all the good things going on there. I actually got to see the bleachers in person. One of my kids was doing a futsal over the weekend. They look great. They were folded up, but they look great. They look like they belong. And I had a hard time imagining them looking like they were, they were sort of part of the plan all along, but they really look great.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm excited, especially for the ones that are kind of set back in, because for basketball, we'll be able to pull those out. On the other side, they're right up to the line, so those can't really come out, but we'll be able to use the other side for thinking like the weekend sports teams that use the gym and whatnot. So.
Sure. Yeah, great. All right. The next item on the agenda is our update from our student representative. Good evening, Hope.
Good evening. I'm going to start with my updates. I have only a few tonight. I have that we had the Seal by Literacy test, which was held last week, the 3rd and the 4th. We also had our student council that went on their annual MASC field trip to Cape Cod. And then we also had the selected DECA members attended States in Boston this past few weeks ago, I think. Then we have the senior overnight details that have been sent out in Miss letter, as well as different opportunities for volunteers and fundraising for that. And then for upcoming events, we have that Saturday school was held this past Saturday, and I'm not sure when the next one is. I think it's this Saturday. Then we need 2 more, we needed 2 more students for the school council, which consists of principals, parents, and students. We also have the poetry contest for Spanish-speaking students is still open. Again, more details are found in Ms. Nieves' weekly letter. We also have that the varsity softball is selling t-shirts. These T-shirts say it's Indians Game Day, and they're $15 a piece. I actually have an order form with me, and it's just for any sport or to support Bartlett, essentially. We have the MCAS Information Night, which will be held tomorrow, March 12th, and then we have the PBIS Egg Hunt, which will be held April 13th from 9 to 11 for Bartlett students, and more details will be soon for students. And that's all I have.
That's a lot. Lots happening over at Bartlett too, huh? Have you started your countdown yet? Not yet. A little bit?
A little bit. A little
Okay.
bit. It's getting there.
Yeah. It's going fast, isn't it?
It is. It's gone by. It feels like we just started school still, so it's kind of a little freaky right now, but.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, thank you for your updates.
Thank you.
And you said you have an order form
I do.
for the T-shirts? All right, so yeah, you want to pass that around or something? Sounds good. Any other questions or comments for Hope? All right, well, thanks again.
Thank you.
And the next item on the agenda under old business is a monthly report on fundraising applications. I did see some in our packet. And just as a reminder, it is the role of the school committee to review fundraising activities, but we don't approve them. Those are done at the building level. There's a bunch of them in here. Mrs. Perangeli, anything that you want to highlight, or you think we're all good here? Some book fair and, okay.
We have the PTO, self on here, PTO Spring Book Fair coming up. We have St. Patrick Coin War at the high school, grades 9 through 12. This is all at the high school coming up. The softball program, like Hope said, is selling T-shirts. Their sweet treat delivery service, they're selling whoopie pies, cookies, and brownies. That is not a bad thing. And we have the class of 2025 who are selling junior and senior prom tickets, right? And then we have the PBIS Egg Hunt and Continental Breakfast and raffle tickets. And then at the middle school, we have the band and chorus who are selling candy bars to raise money. So I think there's a sweet tooth in a few of these events going through, but a lot going on, and we appreciate everybody who's always willing to purchase and donate to our students to make all of these wonderful things happen. So it's much appreciated.
Great, thank you. And then the next item on the agenda is an update on the FY26 budget.
Yep, just a brief update, just to remind everyone that our public hearing is on April 8th, and that announcement has been sent to the Stonebridge Press to get published into the Webster Times. And we'll all be meeting as a group this Thursday to do our budget workshops as well. So, no other updates, other than to make sure that the public hearing's on your calendar as well as on the public's, if they're listening.
Thank you. And that's our next, our
Scheduled meeting.
scheduled meeting, yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you for those updates. And then the next item on the agenda, we have some donations. 4 of them. The first is a $5,000 donation from the Fells family to the sports department. Mrs. Perangeli, did you want to talk about that, or?
We want to thank the Fells for their donation. Again, we are asking the school committee to accept the $5,000 donation. Ms. Fells actually put a nice little note in there that she saw a picture of the kids in the paper, and that she felt like she wanted to give to the athletic program, self-sports. So we appreciate them. Thank you so much.
That's great. Much appreciated. I'm going to outline each of these donations, and we'll take an acceptance in one motion.
Okay, that's fine.
The next donation is $5,000 from Central Breaker and Control to the Girls on the Run at Park Avenue Elementary. I think Ms. Pliafico already mentioned that's a donation to supplement the program, have more girls and coaches as part of that. And transportation, did you say?
That we do provide
Offsets.
for all of the kids to go to.
Great, thanks. And then the next donation is 100 boxes of tissues to Park Ave from the Worcester County Sheriff Lou Evangelitis' office. And 20 random acts of kindness bags to Park Avenue from Worcester County Sheriff Lou Evangelitis' office. Mrs. Prinsley, anything you wanted to say about any of those?
I just want to thank everybody for their generosity to the Webster Public Schools.
Great, thanks. I would like to reiterate that. Thank you. And is there any questions or comments from the committee with regard to these donations? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept them.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes. And once again, thank you to each of these groups or individuals for their kindness and generosity. The next item on the agenda is the discussion and approval of the Bartlett High School Program of Studies for school year 25 to 26. Good evening, Ms. Nieves.
Good evening. We updated our book. There are a lot of changes to the look. Just made it have a better flow overall. So I'll go over some of the big changes that we did. So I'm going to go with the additions first. So I added a principal's message inside of there. We added our PBIS expectations in this book. It's become part of our everyday in our notices and everything, so that we wanted it everywhere. We've added some charts and sample careers for all of the areas just to make it more kind of eye-catching for when students and families look at it. We have a lot of courses that staff have wanted, and they're electives, to bring a lot of these electives back in. So in the advanced manufacturing, we took out the OSHA certification and another certification out of one of the classes and made its class of its own, so anyone across the board could take it, whether they're in a pathway or not. We have also added the third PLTW course into the health and social assistance pathway, which is the medical interventions. And we added another elective into the healthcare pathway as well, which will bring in first aid, CPR, dementia care, and Detect Together certifications into the program. In English, we are using our Study Sync curriculum, but we're going down a little different road. We're going to introduce British literature as a fourth year English, and we've added in 2 electives, dystopian and science fiction and horror stories. Math, we wanted to add in an alternative to a fourth year math, so we added in an introduction to statistics. Right now, our only course was advanced algebra and trig, so we wanted to give a choice. We added the honors level to the advanced algebra and trig. In science, same thing, we added an honors level as an option, and then we added 2 electives, astronomy, and we introduced biology of illness and disease this past spring, and the kids love it, so we're going with it for the fall as an elective. In world language, we added in the elective of Spanish for native speakers, sorry. And then in our music and performing arts, we added world music, history of hip hop and rap, and theater 1 and 2 as well. And the course that Patty had spoke about, we are putting back in future teachers. I do have a description that touched upon what Patty said, but that's in the making. As we come up with the specifics, we'll come back in front of you to let you know what that is. We took out in our pathway for healthcare and social assistance 3 courses right now that are dual enrollment courses, and it's not that we're not doing them. We have to explore more with the colleges, and it depends on budget as well. Last year, we were able to fund that with a grant. So we are looking at ways to bring those dual enrollment classes across the board back in. But right now, they are not here. It's replaced with the medical interventions as the third class. The AP, they can take the AP Chem, the Bio, and the Psych. It's just not listed under the pathway section. It's listed under the science section, but they're listed as alternatives. And due to the low enrollment or no enrollment for the last couple of years, we have taken out medical, business, Spanish, and the other Spanish class, which was the Intro to Spanish and Latin American Film. English, language arts, and math. we're going to do targeted remediation within either homeroom or wind blocks. So we've taken those remediated courses out of the schedule on here, giving the students more opportunities to take other electives. And music and performing arts, we have taken out musicianship lab and history of modern American music and replaced them with the others that they proposed. There's some changes. I don't know if you have any questions on the changes. I don't know if you want me to go through every one of them. And we're in this book, we are in the process of forming a vision of a graduate in place of the 21st century. And we're doing that in line with our NEASC self-assessment. So as soon as we get that piece, we'll bring that in front of you as well. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Sounds like a lot of changes based on, you know, the desires of the students and enrollment and that type of thing. Great. Are you looking for approval tonight, or do you want to wait until, you want
I would like approval
this
on the
part approved?
courses,
Sure.
So we can continue with our course selections. We have gone to the one parochial school today. We have another one tomorrow and the middle school tomorrow to talk about the courses that may be there. And we've had our first meeting with our freshman class just to introduce the scheduling process. So we would like to jump in, if this is approved, to let them go into the computer and start looking at the courses that they have and that they can take.
Sure,
Through the
that makes
chair.
sense. Member Adamopoulos?
Before we print all these out, is there just, can we change the first page just to have the proper year? Version, I think, says 24, 25,
Sure
just
can.
before we make them.
Thank you.
Minor details. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the courses that are outlined in the program of studies as presented.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, motion passes. Thanks for all the work. I know undoubtedly it was a team effort, but thank you to all of you that worked on this and for bringing it to us and for bringing it to the rising ninth graders too.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the discussion and approval of the Bartlett High School MCAS competency determination.
So we sat as a team and we looked at all the guidelines from, you know, and the samples and the examples from the state and other schools, and we've come up with our version that we would like to present. We are looking at, so beginning with the class of 2025, in order to graduate and earn a high school diploma from Webster Public Schools, each student must earn a total of 120 credits and receive competency determination. And we are looking at these three things. So in English language arts, if they have not passed the test, we are looking at full credits earned in the equivalent of at least 2 years of English, being English 1 or its equivalent, and English 2 as its or its equivalent. In math, full credits earned in the equivalent of at least 2 years of math, algebra 1 or its equivalent, and geometry or its equivalent. And then science, full credits earned in 1 science course at the high school level, and that can be in physics, biology, chemistry, or a tech and engineering course. For the students in the class of 2026 and beyond, as long as there's no changes in the law or new guidance from DESE, we recommend certifying courses counting towards the Bartlett High School graduation requirement in math, English, and science for the purposes of obtaining a CD. We wrote that for any students that we are aware of in the classes of 24 and earlier who did not attain a competency determination, that will offer a path on how they can receive that determination per the updated statute. And that would include a transcript review to determine, you know, where they were at and what they may need. If this is approved, we will post this so students and families are notified that they can, you know, for prior years can come back and ask for that review. And we recommend that, well, all students still need to take the test, and they're still eligible if they want to. They just have to let us know if they still want to take it if they have not passed it. So as soon as this is approved, we will communicate these changes and expectations to all students, staff, and families, and district stakeholders, and make the information publicly available in multiple languages. And that's all.
Great. Any questions or comments from the committee about this?
I do have some data if you want to hear a little bit. We had currently in this class 13 students that hadn't met the CD, and if this goes through, 12 of those have already met that competency. We have one that should meet it by the end of the year. So that'll be all 13 of those students that hadn't passed the MCAS with competency. And then we looked back to the class of 2024 also, and we had 6 students, 5 of which would meet the CD requirements as is, and one that would have to do a little bit more. And we've had one parent reach out regarding a student that did not meet the requirements 3 years ago. And if this goes through as is, he would have met them as well.
Great. How does this compare with other districts? Have we looked into that? It sounds like you have already, right?
Yes, it's very similar.
Yep.
They've been sharing sheets across the state for, from all districts, and we have a shared folder. So we went in, we looked at other districts, we compared. They're pretty much all doing the same thing. As you know, we have to meet the standards that were in the 2023 MCAS. So this aligns with meeting those standards.
Okay, great.
Yep.
And I didn't catch this when I originally reviewed this document, but the first paragraph on the second page, I would recommend that we just change that to Bartlett High School will notify students, and just remove most of that first sentence, just for readability, and it goes in line with the language throughout the rest of it, that what we will do.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yep, thank you.
Sure. If there's no other discussion about this document, I'll entertain a motion to approve it with that revision.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the discussion of a FY25 school calendar change.
That's me as well.
Okay.
We are looking to, for the sake of this year only, change our third night for our teachers after school from the second semester parent conferences to have them attend graduation. Again, just for this year, we had set it up originally thinking that with the block scheduling, it would be similar to what it was last year, which were semester-based courses. So we had a parent conference on both ends, and it ended up with full year courses. So it would be visiting the same teachers again.
Okay. If there are parents out there that were not able, I understand that conferences are not overly well attended at the high school level, but if there are parents that miss the opportunity to go originally thinking that they're going to catch it, later on in the year, do we have any ideas in place for how they'll be able to connect with the teachers?
Well, I will have our teachers reach out in addition to my changing this, but as well, let them know that they can call anytime to set up a meeting with their students, whether it's during the day or after school.
Perfect. Okay, great, thanks. Any other questions or comments from the committee about this change in the school calendar?
Through the chair.
Member Scriglia?
So just to clarify, no spring conferences. We're going to graduation instead.
Correct.
The high school, yeah.
At the high school.
All right, so I will entertain a motion to approve a change in the school calendar, being that we will not have parent-teacher conferences in the spring at Bartlett High School.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passes. Be great to see everybody at graduation.
Thank you.
And our robes.
The next item on the agenda is the review, transfer, signing of warrants, bills, payroll, and vouchers. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Desiree, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone.